The advance polls in this federal election opened today despite the holiday and will stay open until Monday. But there are some emerging reports of frustrations at some polling stations. Sun News reporter Ian Robertson was at one station in Toronto. He joins us now. Ian, describe, if you could, what you saw at the station you were visiting.
Well, it was a bright, sunny day, Krista, at Etobicoke Lakeshore, which is the Michael Ignatieff riding for the incumbent. And there were well over 100 people who had lined up outside one of the two polls for the advance polls in that riding. And some of them were very frustrated when they emerged, saying they'd had 15, 30 minutes worth of delays, while other people came out and said they breezed through.
And do we know what those delays are all about exactly? What's behind them?
According to the returning officer and Elections Canada, this fluctuation has been happening across Canada depending upon the polls. This particular riding had quite a few more advance poll sites in the last election. So everything seems to have been jammed down a little bit more. There were 3 stations, 8 lists of names in the 2 where people were going through trying to find people on the voting list. Some people came without their voting cards. So there were some tables where you had hardly anybody lined up, and other tables it was jammed.
And you interviewed a number of people at the Etobicoke polling station that you were reporting at today. Let's have a look at some of those interviews.
Well, it's a 15-minute wait for them to find my name on the list. And she had to get help from another lady. They couldn't read or they couldn't see. I don't know.
They're disorganized. One person tells you one thing, another person tells you that a husband and wife can vote together, and then another one says, oh, you can't.
And then one gentleman just tore up his card and threw it at the guy and told him where to put it.
Wow. Okay, so you mentioned that you spoke with Elections Canada. They gave you an explanation, I assume, specifically about what was going on in Etobicoke. Did they say anything more broadly than that?
Actually, they said it was too soon to give us a really good feel for what happened in that riding or any others where there may have been some problems. But they've said that similar circumstances can occur. This is the largest turnout expected for a statutory holiday. In fact, I believe it's the first statutory holiday of 3 voting days on a weekend. So they're very happy that there's a good turnout. They'd have been very unhappy if there wasn't. And I think there's always going to be some glitches, and it was such a lovely day that people perhaps thought they could get out, vote quickly and leave. But because there was such an amalgamation at one spot, I think that was part of the problem.
Okay, and let's talk about the fact that it is a statutory holiday. So this weekend, the days of this weekend are among the holiest of days in the calendar for Christians. And are there people within the Christian community who have raised concerns about the fact that these polling stations are open during this period?
Well, nobody mentioned it to me today, but last month there were some rumblings. But then there was also some reflection of the fact that there was a Jewish holiday in the advance polling time of the last election. And I spoke to an Elections Canada official last month who said, based on regulations of voting in Canada, it's the timing of when an election is called. Advance polls have to fall within certain time frames. And it's just unfortunate in some cases that this is the weekend it had to be done.
Right, so it's totally out of their hands, essentially, is what they're saying. And those rumblings that you came across last month, what was the basis of the rumblings?
There were some people theorizing that this may have been a plot to turn away certain people from the polls. And then as somebody else pointed out, well, yes, but in the previous election there was another religious organization that advance polls fell on one of their holidays. So no, Election Canada said, that's the timing, that's the regulations, it has to be within that period of time.
All right, we thank you for your reporting on this. That is Ian Robertson joining us live this afternoon here in our studios in Toronto.